In the world of high-performance machines, sports cars are not merely vehicles designed to move from one place to another. They are emotional statements, mechanical art forms, and rolling proof of humanity's obsession with speed, control, and engineering perfection. And when we talk about modern sports cars that define this obsession, three names instantly rise above the noise: the Porsche 911 Turbo S, the Nissan GT-R, and the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, each representing a completely different philosophy of performance, heritage, and driving experience, yet all chasing the same ultimate goal of dominance on road and track. Because the Porsche 911 Turbo S stands as a symbol of refined brutality, a car that looks understated to the untrained eye, yet hides astonishing power beneath its timeless silhouette, delivering relentless acceleration through a twin-turbo flat-six engine that produces power with surgical precision, allowing it to launch from 0 to 60 in a blink that feels almost unreal. And unlike many supercars that demand constant attention and compromise, the Turbo S blends comfort, daily usability, and raw speed so seamlessly that it feels almost effortless, making it a machine that can dominate a racetrack in the morning and cruise through city streets in the evening without losing its identity. Well, on the other side of the spectrum sits the Nissan GT-R, a car that has built its reputation not on elegance or luxury, but on pure, unapologetic performance, earning the nickname Godzilla because it shattered expectations and humbled far more expensive European rivals. Powered by a hand-built twin-turbo V6 that focuses on delivering explosive torque and relentless grip through an advanced all-wheel drive system, turning every launch into a violent yet controlled assault on physics. And while the GTR's design may not follow traditional beauty standards, its aggressive stance, sharp lines, and functional aerodynamics communicate one clear message: this car exists to be fast, brutally fast, and it proves that performance is not always about prestige, but about results. Whereas the Chevrolet Corvette Z06 brings an entirely different energy to the comparison, representing American muscle evolved into a modern, track-focused weapon, abandoning the old stereotype of straight-line power only and embracing high-revving precision through its naturally aspirated V8 engine, an engineering masterpiece that screams to redline with a raw, mechanical sound that feels almost rebellious in an era dominated by turbocharging, giving the Z06 a character that is loud, emotional, and unapologetically dramatic, making every drive feel like an event rather than a routine. And when you compare these three machines side by side, the contrast becomes fascinating because the Porsche 911 Turbo S feels like a master chess player, calculating every move with perfection, delivering speed in a refined, composed manner that never feels chaotic. The Nissan GT-R feels like a street-fighting warrior, aggressive, slightly rough around the edges, yet terrifyingly effective when pushed to its limits. And the Corvette Z06 feels like a passionate performer, relying on sound, drama, and high-revving excitement to connect with the driver on an emotional level. And this difference in personality becomes even more evident when you talk about how each car handles power, because the Turbo S distributes its immense output with such confidence that it almost feels like cheating, using advanced electronics and engineering to keep the car glued to the road, inspiring confidence even in drivers who may not consider themselves professionals. While the GT-R uses its sophisticated drivetrain to deliver immense grip, making it feel unstoppable in straight-line acceleration and corner exits, though it demands respect and understanding to fully unlock its potential. And the Corvette Z06, with its rear-wheel drive layout and high-revving engine, asks the driver to be more involved, more attentive, rewarding skill and courage with an experience that feels raw and authentic. And this leads to a deeper question about what truly defines a great sports car. Because is it the ability to dominate lap times with minimal effort, as the Porsche does so elegantly, or is it the sheer shock value of performance that defies expectations, as the GT-R has done for years? Or is it the emotional connection, the sound, the sensation, and the drama that the Corvette Z06 delivers every time the engine fires up? And the answer depends entirely on the kind of driver you are, because some drivers want perfection and balance, others want aggression and dominance, and some want passion and excitement. And these cars cater to those desires in very different ways, yet none of them can be called inferior because each excels in its own domain, proving that the world of sports cars is not about a single definition of greatness, but about multiple interpretations of speed and performance. And as we dive deeper into this comparison, it becomes clear that these machines are not competing to be the same, but to be the best version of what they represent, setting the stage for an even deeper exploration of their performance, technology, and driving experience that separates legends from mere fast cars. As the comparison moves beyond surface-level impressions and into the core of what truly separates these three sports cars, performance figures alone begin to feel incomplete, because numbers may tell you how fast a car is, but they do not fully explain how that speed is delivered, controlled, and experienced. And this is where the Porsche 911 Turbo S further strengthens its position as a benchmark of modern engineering by demonstrating that true performance is not just about raw power, but about how effortlessly that power can be accessed at any moment, as its advanced all-wheel drive system, lightning-fast transmission, and perfectly tuned suspension work together in near silence, creating an experience that feels so composed that even extreme speeds feel manageable, almost calm, making the Turbo S feel like a car that is always one step ahead of the driver, predicting inputs and correcting mistakes before they ever become noticeable, while the Nissan GT-R approaches the same goal from a far more aggressive and mechanical perspective, delivering performance that feels earned rather than gifted, because the GT-R does not hide its intentions behind softness or refinement. Instead, it communicates through vibration, sound, and force, reminding the driver that this is a machine built with a singular obsession for speed, where the steering feels heavy, the transmission shifts with authority, and the chassis feels planted like it is clawing into the asphalt, creating an experience that can feel intense and demanding, yet deeply satisfying for those who appreciate a car but constantly reminds you of the physics being challenged. And then there is the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, which almost rejects the idea of electronic intervention as the primary source of confidence, choosing instead to rely on balance, chassis tuning, and the natural behavior of a high-revving engine, forcing the driver to engage more deeply, to listen closely to the engine's rising scream, to feel the grip through the steering wheel, and to respect the throttle, because the Z06 does not forgive careless inputs as easily as the Turbo S, nor does it rely on brute grip like the GT-R, but instead rewards precision and rhythm, making it feel more like a dance than a battle. And this difference becomes especially clear when each car is pushed on a winding road or racetrack, or the Porsche feels almost surgical, slicing through corners with minimal drama, maintaining perfect composure even under heavy braking and aggressive acceleration, while the GT-R attacks corners with a sense of urgency, using its all-wheel drive system to pull itself out of turns with explosive force, sometimes feeling heavier but undeniably effective. And the Corvette Z06 feels alive, constantly communicating weight transfer and traction limits, making every successful corner feel like an achievement rather than a guarantee. And beyond handling, sound plays a surprisingly important role in defining the personality of these machines, because the Turbo S produces a refined, controlled soundtrack, powerful yet restrained, perfectly matching its polished character, while the GT-R emits a mechanical growl mixed with turbo whistle, a sound that feels industrial and purposeful, reinforcing its image as a performance-focused weapon. And the Z06, with its naturally aspirated V8, delivers an unforgettable symphony of induction noise and exhaust roar that builds into a spine-tingling scream at high revs, creating an emotional connection that many enthusiasts argue is becoming increasingly rare in modern sports cars. And this emotional factor cannot be ignored, because driving is not only about speed, but about how a car makes you feel. And while the Porsche impresses with its perfection and the GT-R intimidates with its aggression, the Corvette excites with its drama. And even when discussing interior design and driver environment, these differences continue to show, as the Turbo S offers a cabin that feels refined, luxurious, and meticulously crafted, making long drives comfortable without sacrificing the sense of occasion, whereas the GT-R's interior feels more utilitarian, focused on function over form, with controls and displays designed to support performance rather than pamper the driver. And the Corvette Z06 strikes a balance by delivering a cockpit that feels modern and sporty, placing the driver low and centered, reinforcing the feeling of being part of the machine rather than simply sitting inside it. And when ownership experience is considered, the Porsche again demonstrates its versatility by offering reliability, comfort, and everyday usability that few cars in its performance class can match, while the GT-R appeals to a more specific audience willing to accept compromises in comfort for the sake of raw performance and legendary status. And the Z06 presents itself as a bold alternative, offering exotic-level performance and excitement at a price point that challenges traditional expectations, proving that supercar thrills do not always need a supercar badge. And all of this leads to a deeper understanding that these cars are not simply competing on speed, but on philosophy, because the Porsche 911 Turbo S represents precision and evolution, refining a legendary formula to near perfection. The Nissan GT-R represents defiance and disruption, a car that refused to follow traditional rules and instead rewrote them through technology and determination. And the Corvette Z06 represents passion and reinvention, transforming American muscle into a world-class sports car that can stand proudly among global icons, setting the stage for the final comparison, where the ultimate question is no longer which car is faster, but which car best represents what a sports car should be. As this comparison reaches its final stage, it becomes clear that choosing between the Porsche 911 Turbo S, the Nissan GT-R, and the Chevrolet Corvette Z06 is not about identifying a single winner, but about understanding which interpretation of a sports car resonates most deeply with the driver's mindset. Because the Turbo S continues to prove that perfection is not loud or chaotic, but precise, controlled, and endlessly capable, delivering performance that feels almost supernatural and how easily it can be accessed, making it a car that removes fear from speed and replaces it with confidence, allowing drivers to push limits without feeling overwhelmed. And this ability to make extreme performance feel approachable is perhaps the Turbo S's greatest strength, as it does not demand sacrifice or constant compromise, instead offering a complete package that balances comfort, luxury, reliability, and devastating acceleration, making it the ideal choice for those who want a sports car that can do everything without drawing unnecessary attention. While the Nissan GT-R stands as a reminder that greatness can be forged through obsession and focus rather than refinement, as its legacy is built on challenging giants and refusing to conform to traditional definitions of beauty or luxury, instead prioritizing raw capability and technological dominance, creating a car that feels like a weapon rather than a companion, demanding respect and rewarding commitment. And for drivers who crave intensity, who enjoy feeling every vibration and mechanical interaction, the GT-R delivers an experience that feels earned, almost primal, turning every hard launch and aggressive corner into a reminder of why it became a legend in the first place. And then there is the Chevrolet Corvette Z06, a car that proves emotion still has a place in the modern sports car world, offering an experience that feels loud, alive, and unapologetically dramatic, where the sound of the engine is not just noise, but a central part of the identity, and the connection between driver and machine feels direct and personal, making each drive memorable regardless of speed. And the Z06's ability to combine track-level performance with an accessible price point challenges long-standing hierarchies in the automotive world, showing that passion and innovation can rival prestige and tradition. And when these three cars are viewed through the lens of legacy, the Porsche represents evolution, a model refined over decades into a near-perfect execution of its original concept. The GT-R represents revolution, a car that arrived with the sole intention of disrupting and dominating. And the Corvette Z06 represents transformation, taking a familiar name and elevating it into a global performance icon. And this distinction is crucial because it highlights that sports cars are not just about speed, but about storytelling, identity, and the emotions they evoke. And while lap times, horsepower figures, and acceleration numbers may vary depending on conditions and updates, the core personalities of these cars remain consistent, shaping how they are perceived and experienced. And for some drivers, the Turbo S will always be the ultimate answer, offering unmatched balance and capability that feels future-proof. For others, the GT-R will remain irresistible, a symbol of raw determination and technological muscle that refuses to fade quietly into history. And for those who value emotion above all else, the Corvette Z06 will stand as a reminder that driving can still feel thrilling, loud, and deeply personal in an increasingly digital world. And this is why the real victory here is not claimed by a single car, but by the diversity they represent. Because together, they prove that the sports car category is alive, evolving, and capable of satisfying vastly different desires, whether that desire is perfection, dominance, or passion. And as the engines cool and the comparison ends, one truth remains undeniable. The Porsche 911 Turbo S, Nissan GT-R, and Chevrolet Corvette Z06 are not just machines competing for numbers or headlines, but icons that embody different visions of speed, engineering, and emotion, ensuring that no matter which path a driver chooses, the experience will be unforgettable, meaningful, and deeply connected to the timeless thrill of driving fast, pushing limits, and feeling alive behind the wheel.